Very good. Do you know what this thing is? Pericardium. Just so I go over this, you're not going to be tested on this. The outside is the fibrous pericardium. The inside is the serous parietal pericardium. That makes this layer on the heart the visceral serous pericardium, which we also call the epicardium. Okay, now that that's done.
But didn't you go over that last word?
Yeah, I went over that A and P. Yeah.
Okay.
So what do you think this nerve is on either side of the pericardium going down into the diaphragm? Phrenic. Perfect. And the artery and vein with it, you didn't do in lab. It's called the pericardiophrenik. I mentioned it with the lecture stuff. I don't like to test them because they're cut. So people get lost a lot of times when they're just these little stumps going nowhere. All right, so I'm not going to go over the vessels. You got the vessels down, right? We know this is
superior vena cava.
Spin here. For those of you can see it. So here across to here. This guy, I'm going to spin him around so everybody can see what I'm talking about. You see this blue coming up here, goes across to there. That's the azygos. Okay? All right. No, we could do that. All right. So we got the aorta. First branch off the aorta is the brachiocephalic. Then this is the, which side? Left common carotid. And who's that? Left subclavian. Perfect. And then this goes up to pulmonary trunk to the left and right pulmonary arteries. And the reason I was getting into this, okay, we're going through with the heart stuff real quick because he's falling apart anyway. When I open up this chamber, I can see the pectinate muscles. I can see the crista terminalis. Okay? Two things tagged in yellow. Obviously, I'm not the only one that thinks them. Crista terminalis, that ridge, pectinate muscles. Okay? Now, this guy, this gal gets a little more ornery. Okay? All right, when we get into here, and I'm going to show for the video and I'll show for everybody else, we see the valve, tricuspid. We see the IVC, we see the SVC, we see the fossa ovalis right next to the opening for the coronary sinus. And then do you see that little lump right there in gray? That is your AV node. And if we look up here, we see the SA node. SA node is always by the SVC. Put the S's together. And we see a crista terminalis, pectinate muscles. That's about all that's fun in there. All right. Now, if we look at the left atrium, which I have to take off from the back. Sure, get it on, I can't get it back off. All right, in the left atrium, the only feature we can see is our bicuspid valve, and we see the fossa secunda. And I love tagging that on this model because none of you have ever looked at it.
Fossa secunda?
Anybody? So, fossa ovalis with the blue, fossa secunda once again ignored. Poor little gal. Okay. Then we get into the ventricles, same thing. These are
Papillary muscles.
These are
Cordoni tendon.
Okay. What is this with the green, this little band stretching from the wall to the edge? Moderator band, or if you want to show off, step 2 marginal trabeculae. So what are these guys? Trabeculae carnae. Same thing over here. Papillaries, trabeculae carnae, chordae tendineae. And then again, remember that big smooth area? Conus arteriosus. So it's real big here.
What's the difference between the trabeculae and the papillary?
Okay. Trabeculae lay against the wall. The papillary actually stand up and are always connected to the chordae tendineae.
Papillary have like little nipples kind of on them, right?
Well, they are shaped like nipples themselves.
Pectinate's on there.
Pectinate's only in here.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, is that what you asked and I went off on the wrong?
Yeah.
You gotta smack me sometimes. Okay.
I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, it's okay. So we've got the pectinate here and the trabeculae. See, this one is just kind of like waves. This one is actually a network like we saw in spongy bone.
Okay, yeah.
So that's the big difference. I wish we had real hearts. We ought to go kill a first quarter student. All right, so now I want to just put this back in place and let's see what we can see on here. This is the trachea. That makes this pink thing the esophagus. Perfect. Now the trachea breaks into bronchi. Do you see the arteries on the bronchi? Take a stab at a name. Bronchial arteries. Perfect. Yep. Now, do you see this little green thing coming up again? Thoracic duct. So we see our azygos right by our thoracic duct. Now, there's the white nerve coming down. What nerve would be on the back of the esophagus? Posterior esophageal. Now, This is kind of cool. You see our cardiac plexus? Okay. We see our ligamentum arteriosum, and we see a big nerve coming down here. You see, I can't get him out of the way, but let me get this on the video and then I'll spin it around. Do you see how it branches? The branch going forward towards the ligamentum arteriosum is the recurrent laryngeal. The other one, you can follow the little green dots all the way down to the front of the esophagus. So this is the anterior esophageal trunk. Okay? So we can't quite take it apart like we did the last one, but do you see how this comes down and it's in a branch? And we see a branch right here going forward. That's the recurrent laryngeal. And then we see this branch that goes all the way down onto the esophagus. Anterior esophageal. Now the only other fun thing is, do you see these little guys coming off here? Intercostal vessels. Those are the arteries and the veins. I wouldn't tag them here, but that's what they are.
These are more confusing on this model.
Right, that's which I probably won't tag them there, but there's one other. Do you see this artery coming off the aorta running on the esophagus? Take a guess. Esophageal. Perfect. So you guys are great. You're ready to take it right now. All right, when we look at these, do you see the bluish purple color? Where are they going? To the lungs. So we know that the bluish color going to the lungs is an artery. So the ones lower down, the more reddish color, and always inferior, are going to be the veins. So I'm still not as likely to tag it on this model. I still like to have things together, because see, I just took off the pulmonary veins here, sorry. So the pulmonary arteries come off the trunk and the pulmonary veins go to the atrium. But I still like, again, I treat this as more of an introductory. I like to have it connecting. So if I did something like that, cut in the lungs is one thing, 'cause